Well, build my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance that's buried in his eye. Well, he gave me bars, but I can see between to a dusty yard and a long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I drown my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone. I'm sober.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Quick Bang. I'm Matty, joined by Colin, Ewan, Leon, Charlie, and Calvin tonight. Talk about Hibs 1, Celtic 3. Colin, you're first up, mate. What's your point, caller?
I'm not really sure where to start. That first half was probably the worst I've seen. The worst I've seen Hibs playing fucking ages. It was terrible. It was like every time they went forward, I thought they're going to score. I think I text you after about 7 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that. I mean, looking at the clock, thinking this is going to be a long. Well, you'd already texted me saying this is going to be a long night because the way it was going, it was a fucking. Every time we went forward, I thought they were going to score. It was just shite. Every time a cross comes into the box, somebody gets a free header on goal. And like Macy saved 2 or 3 the night of them, and they got goals for them as well. It's just incredible. It's just I don't know what's happened to the defence. It's fucked. It's just fucked. You watch the goals. I've just seen them on Sportscene now, and they were even just talking about it. They said it's like I think it was Shelley Kerr, who obviously Shelley Kerr, but she was saying it's like they're trying to do zonal, but then somebody I think she said Newell stepped out and then Porteous gets caught out and they all just go like that and put their hands out to say, well, whose fucking fault was that? And nobody even kens what they're meant to be doing when they're defending it anywhere. It's just, they're all looking at each other and saying, was that your fault? Was it my fault? They're fucking clueless when it comes to defending.
I think we've even got zones standing free. Okay, that's how bad they are.
It's incredible. It's absolutely mental. Two missed chances as well, obviously Newell early doors, and he should have done better, but I think we would have still been getting overrun there. I think the Murphy chance was a bigger turning point, because if we got it back to 3-2, then I think we were in the game more than the 1-0. Because even if we got 1-0, I think they were just running through us at will. So I think that the Murphy chance is a bigger miss there. But I don't know, mate. I just kind of lost for words, but although I said loads of words, I was rattling on loads there. So.
Yeah, whereas you, what about you? You're never lost for words, mate. In the nicest possible way, obviously.
It was the next, and no Hibs team, no matter who you're playing, can play 30 minutes like that. It's especially at home. Like, look at how we set up against Rangers at Ibrox against tonight. It just, for me, screamed that Jack Ross has lost confidence or knowing himself to set up a team that can play football, that lost maybe confidence in the players, or the players are lacking confidence. They just thought they'd try and be hard to beat, but well, they weren't. And the first 2 goals are just, I mean, we've seen so many cross balls end up in goals, but they're for set plays. It's pathetic. And look, we missed Porteous in the last 2 games, but he's at fault for both goals. Like, call a spade a spade. He's had a fucking nightmare. Like,
he got man of the match.
He scored a goal.
The sponsor why me,
it just honestly, it's really bad, Matt. And we were talking on Saturday, like, just it's getting worse. Like, that was worse than Aberdeen. Aberdeen was worse than Dundee United. Like, Ross County, I've just put 5 past Dundee tonight. Can't wait for that. Like, it's I'm struggling right now with Hibs. It's tough, and I don't think sacking Jack Ross would make a difference, but I don't like keeping him well either.
It's a funny one, because I've been quite like a vocal defender of Jack Ross for a long time, but there's only so long I think you can put up with performances like that. Like, you go last season, we had a couple. We've talked about it on Longbangers before. Like, we refer back to them, Livingston and Ross County at home, were the 2 shockers in the cup final. That's like 4. Well, Rangers one's harsh. It's harsh including that one in it, because we were decent for half a game, but then, even then, you still have to do better with 10 men.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Than just fucking capitulating.
I'm usually quite on the ball with remembering Hibs games and form and stuff like that for years gone by. It's all I think about all the time. I can't even remember the last time we lost 4 games in a row. I don't even think Hecky lost 4 in the
2014, they just said it on Sportscene tonight.
Was it?
And I know you've played Celtic and Rangers in there, but it's not good enough. And last season we beat the teams that should have been beaten. So you could lose to Rangers and then you would have beat Dundee United and whoever the equivalent to Aberdeen were at the time last season. And you can lose to Celtic and it doesn't look so bad. But like Hearts haven't won in 3 and they've still gained 3 points on us. It's just we're in a bad way. It's a competitive league and right now we're not competing.
Aye. Leo, what about you, mate? What do you think?
It was a bit like boys v men for the first half an hour. I mean, felt they were playing right into Celtic hands the way they were playing, getting hit on the break, and Celtic just looked light years ahead of us in that first half hour. Even without the set piece goals, I just felt like every time they were going forward, I thought they were going to concede a goal. They looked absolutely, everybody looked at a position every time they were on the defence. Even going forward, I think some of the body language of the players in there was pretty terrible. I think Martin Boyle even had a moment the day where he sort of the ball actually went to an area where he should have been, and but he gave up on it as soon as it went to recede and started throwing it. I think he threw his arms a bit, but for what I remember of the match, I was like, when I seen him there, I was like, it's not like him. The guy that usually has a positive attitude and things like that. And I don't know. Going to the match, I seen the bench. The bench was worrying. Like the Laddie Campbell came on and done well, but the bench was really worrying when you look at like if things are going your way. There's no way that bench is changing anything on that. And I feel when a manager's chopping and changing all starting lineups as well, that's screaming problems for me.
I nearly gave Jack Ross credit for bringing on the laddie at half time and changing it a bit and making us look a bit better in the second half. But then I watched the highlights here. I reckon he took Gogic off because he was going to get sent off. He got booted.
He
He had 2 or 3 other fouls, and I think that's why he took him off. I think
the way he was getting caught in the way the Celtic were breaking on his day, he was the player that was going to be getting on a second jelly. Obviously, we had the chances in that with Neil's chance and Murphy's chance, and okay, Celtic had their chances as well. And it's just what football's like. If we made it 3-2, the fans would have maybe got a bit more behind the team. But as soon as that third goal went in, the exodus happened again at the Grundy, and that's a big thing. Like that's a telling thing with support for managers and that. You've seen it in the past when the fans start dropping their heads. I mean, we've seen it under under Lennon and Stubbs and things like that. It wasn't very often they went down and then the fans would get up and storm out. Ken, I'm obviously I wouldn't have anything back at the club managing side, but it's just all the vibes now are just so negative. And we're waiting for talking about positive records for Jack Ross to now discussing about we could start making negative ones about 4 losses in a row and things like that. Ken. So it's not a great place to be.
The stadium emptying, so it wasn't as bad as it could be. I think if Celtic had got a 4th, that would have just killed it altogether.
It wasn't as bad as the Dundee United one.
Aye, that's what I was going to say. But considering it was only 20 minutes gone or half an hour gone or whatever, folk were away home and there'd be folk back in the house by half time.
I think the weather sort of hangs that a lot sometimes. To be fair, Ken, like no like try to stick up for the team or that, but I think sometimes when it's a shite weather night, a lot of folk are like, fuck this, I'm off. Like looking for a half excuse. But
all right, Charlie, what about you? What did you think of the game?
Shite. That's the only word I can describe it with. Like men against boys. I thought second half we looked marginally better than the first half, but even then, with nothing on that bench, like what does Josh O'Connor have to do to get a place in that team? Scoring goals for the reserves with nothing really up front just now, and there's no harm in putting him on the bench. I would say. I thought young Josh Campbell looked all right when he came on. I personally agree. I thought Gogic was going to get sent off, so Jack Ross was probably had no other option. But I think it was just one of the performances that I expected. It comes back to it though. What do they work on in training? That's another game and another goal for a cross. Like, what do they work on in training for that to happen every single game? We went from no conceding one in the league last year to conceding one every game virtually so far, and it just stems from there's no leadership in that team. Like there's nobody in that defence that's pulling them together, and it's just my patience is wearing really thin with Hibs now. For my money, I'm not convinced with Jack Ross anymore, and I've been a vocal defender of Jack Ross on Twitter and everything like that, but I think I'm finished with him now.
So we're thinking last season, was it Marciano that was providing leadership?
See, that's what I'm wondering. We were talking about that on the way out, right? I was just going to say that because the defence is pretty much the same. But I'm looking at it going, Macy's keeping us in the game. But there's obviously something happening there, right, with the defence and communication or something, because last year to no let any in other than in the cup games, but no in the league. And this week, the night every fucking cross was like there was 3 headers all over the place. And so something's broken. They've either changed it for zonal to fucking the man marking or whatever, the other way around, or they didn't trust the goalie, or something. I don't know, but I don't know why they trust the goalie, because he's making as many saves as Marciano ever made. So I'm not sure what's going on.
Almost understand it if it's the open play, and maybe there is that confusion if the keeper's going to come or not come. But tonight with set pieces, like, it was as simple as Poch's just losing his man twice, and like, well, maybe it was Newell for the first one. Neither of them were even close. It looks like you're saying, like they're talking about maybe it's a zonal thing, but it still looked pretty man on man to me. Like, Poch's was on Carter Vickers on the second goal, and like, is it knee height? Like, why? He had this. I know Poch's was sort of in behind him, but there was just so much room around him to be. It looks terrible, doesn't it? Like,
there's a few goals. There's a few goals I've watched recently that has coming, and even coming onto this, watching them again, and try to work out, okay, who's lost their man, and it's really difficult the way they mark and that to work out who has actually lost their man. Like that one the night with Newell and Poch's, I was the same. I was like, is it Newell's man? Is it Poch's man? They didn't seem to like. Again, if they're going zonal, they go zonal. If they do, I hate zonal marking, but it's as what is. But there's times you look at the goals and see, and you're like, who actually has lost their man? Because there are 2 players no close enough to the man, but both far enough away that you didn't know who's actually maybe close enough.
Aye. Calvin, what about you, mate? What was your last up? What did you make it all?
I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of lost for words. I was looking forward to coming on in that, like, but I thought I had a big opinion, but I'm lost for words after really reflecting on that defeat tonight. It was, to be honest with you, I thought Celtic just were awesome, like, first half, man, that was some quality football. The way Kyogo and that linked up with Rogic and that, it was like a hot knife going through butter, the way they cut us open at times. I thought they were really impressive, but I kind of thought, for me, I can't remember us touching the ball until they actually scored. I might be wrong, but the first 9 minutes, it was like backs against the wall. We weren't closing them down. We completely let them pass the ball from left to right, just completely dominated us for the word go. I didn't see a lot of fight for us. I quite like games like that. You need to let the opposition know that you're there. You know what I mean? And maybe stand up and be counted. I'm talking maybe like a Marvin Bartley type of tackle or something, or I don't know, like, just let them know we're there. But we were like puppies, man. Just so docile, and just let them stroke it about and completely just, absolutely ragdolled us that first 30 minutes, man. They'd won the game after 12 minutes for me. It's really fine margins when you play Celtic, and for me, that Joel Newell chance, he's got to score that. I can see that, it kind of came to him at the last minute, and he maybe didn't have enough time to think about it. I know it's a split seconds to think, but if that goes in, I think it could potentially, it'll definitely shut them up, because they were really loud tonight. I thought that really, their fans really got,
especially through the silence,
egged them on, and I thought that was really encouraging. But if that goes in, I mean, I don't know if that shuts them up, and maybe we have a wee 10-minute spell where we get settled in that. But for me, gave them far too much respect. It was just no fight. I didn't see a lot of players standing off, no really closing down, or it was sort of half-arsed, like closing down, like running up to them, but no putting in a tackle, just sort of shadowing them. It seemed like we were defeated almost pretty early on, to be honest with you. Like Leon said, the body language was pretty poor. And then second half, I think we played a bit better. We were all right. But to be fair, Celtic were 3-0 up, and they're playing again at the weekend. Like, did they need to try? I mean, I think if they really kept up that intensity, I think they could have took 5 or 6 quite easily, to be honest with you.
Did you see did you see the moment when Rogic was going through? No, I think it was Gogic had the ball, and Rogic like just taking the ball clean off him, pushed him out the way, and it was like it was Gogic's ball all day, and Rogic like ragdolled him at the road, and I was like, thinking to myself, this is meant to be the hard tackling player in their team. This is meant to be the guy that's meant to be putting the fit in and showing a bit. And he's got absolutely ragdolled with a guy that's softer than fucking chocolate. Okay, I mean, like a guy that went off injured because all he does is go off injured, but he was still had the fight and the body to get ahead of him. And I couldn't believe what I was watching.
He was there all night. That's how Gogic got booked, because Rogic had the better of all the physical challenges that they were going up against each other with.
He's obviously a top player, and he's one of the guys that if he wasn't injured all the time, he'd probably be playing. He wouldn't play in the Celtic anyway because he's some of his touches and what he's got about him. But I was just seen that, and I was like, "What the fuck's going on?" Then like Calvin says, there was no bite, there was no moments in the kind of playing against. We've not that a lot though against Rangers and Celtic. Apart from Borges doesn't get sent off, like, but kind of challenges that like gets the crowd up and it shows the Celtic players that they're there, and it's just not that for a long time. I don't think.
It's a fun. I said it to Josh when we were kind of sitting at the game, like, having a wee complaint, and he's talking about kind of injuries of key players and everything. And I'm going, well, we've had teams much shiter than this one stand up to Rangers and Celtic and give them a game. Like the Celtic hadn't won a league game until the night Easter Road since 2014 or something like that. Again, we were obviously out of the league for a wee bit, but there's loads of games you could fancy your chances against Celtic, and I don't think having a weaker team is that much an excuse all the time. Like especially when you consider some of the teams that we've had where we've beat them,
and some of the Celtic teams that have came as well. The Brendan Rodgers team, when they were absolutely flying, came at Easter when they got results.
There was a wee bit. You said that I think it was Leon that said about the attitude, or something we all have, but it was only 10 days ago. We said that Jack Ross says they were lazy, and look at the night. They were lazy at times going in, and I thought it was a press they were doing. I don't know what it was, maybe. But then even just at half time, I had to be moaning about McGinn picked the ball up. And he was driving down. It was a shit pass, but he was looking for Boyle to go down the touchline. It was 2-on-1, and Boyle just fucking jogged alongside him. And you think, run a wee bit faster. And it was a shite pass for McGinn, but McGinn almost played it again. It's half time. You're meant to be fucking down there, so I'm just got to kick it in that direction for you to chase. And it was just Boyle being lazy, just at the run. And it was just another example. I know it's one example. I'm picking somebody out, but it was the most glaring example that I can remember.
You get your hand up there.
Aye, it was just with what the guys were saying about the attitude, and I looked at it in the opening 2 minutes because I just had a glance at the clock when we did. The only time we touched the ball was Josh Doig made a tackle and then squashed out for a throw-in. That was the only time we touched the ball in the first 2 minutes of the game.
Like,
that's just, I look, 2 minutes is a small period of time, but to not even touch the ball properly other than a squash tackle, it sets the salt stall out entirely. Calvin's right. Like Celtic did play some nice stuff, but we're 5-10 yards off them all the time.
Yeah.
No, I'm never let's be honest. Like Livy, Ross County, fucking Bonnyrigg, Rosewood had played for us in the first half of the night, and it's really worrying. Like I don't think like Jack Ross's post-match interview. I agree with what he said about the first half, but and same we were excellent in the second half and stuff. Like, if Celtic were clinical, that could have been embarrassing. 3-1 flattered us tonight, I think. I think you could probably say we didn't deserve a goal in the first half. Maybe we did in the second half, so we got that. Celtic they could have been 5 or 6 up before we scored, and they could have scored another 3 goals. Just looking at the highlights purely from the chances before Murphy's chance in the second half. Like, I think this one chance for Murphy's clouding the second half performance a little bit. If he didn't have that, would we be sitting here saying the second half was that much better, or would we be saying it was the exact same as the second half against Aberdeen, where we had more of the ball and just got it into different areas down the left and down the right and done absolutely nothing with it?
I think we were pressing them a bit better than that. I thought we were putting better tackles in. A bit more urgency in that.
I do think though if we played as well in the second, I'm not saying as well, sorry. I don't think if we played how we played in the second half in the first half, we'd have won that game either. Like I didn't think the second half levels were that good. That
Mhm.
kind of if that had been transferred in the first half, it might not have been a 3-0 at half time, but I still don't think we would have won it because I still don't think the second half levels were good enough.
I think it's maybe Jack Ross giving the players something to hang on to, really, rather than coming away for that game thinking, it's been a sore night for us.
He's good to keep positive. He's good to he can't do what Neil Lennon done, just hammer players out to beat, because you see what happened. It came with that it was an absolute train crash, and I think car crash, sorry, and I think he's got to come in and give him something again. He's got, and I've never seen his interview, but I've seen a news clip, and it was like Jack Ross is saying, "I'll take responsibility for that result." Again, he's going to be in there, that change room, saying, "Look, guys, I've fucking dug you again. I'm taking the heat for the fans. I'm taking this. You need to help me out." Blah blah blah. But you can't just go out and hound players. I mean, you've got to hound them and then ask them on the Monday morning to fucking 100-metre sprints and that kind of thing.
All right, we'll wrap up. We'll go Ross County on Saturday. Ewan, I'll start with you. What's your prediction for that one?
2-0 Ross County.
Colin?
We're going to beat them up there. They've scored all the goals tonight, so I think 2-1 Hibs.
2-1 Hibs. Leon?
No, it's got 0-0 written on it, I think.
Ever optimist, Charlie?
3-0 County, mate.
Jeez, no.
Man, we're not scoring another goal until we sack that manager. That's what I'm saying.
Scored tonight.
Another one, mate. Another one. Well, if we're going to score, it'll not be the strikers. So 3-0 County.
Calvin?
I'm with Leon. I think probably 0-0, or I can see County sneaking at 1-0. It's a horrible place to go, so
I'm glad they got a result tonight, right? Because that's taking. If we had gone up there and they were looking for a result, we'd be going, "Oh, it's a Hibs thing to do, right?" They've got that
1-0 Ollie Shaw and all over it.
I'm trying.
Ollie Shaw's a killer now.
I'm trying to reverse psychology. I'm trying to reverse psychology.
Hey guys, thanks very much for coming on so late tonight. Anyway, we'll be back with short bangers. Well, tonight anyway, because we're now into Thursday. Oh no, we're not quite on to Thursday yet, right? So 4 minutes left to Wednesday. We'll be back with short bangers the morning then, and then long bangers on Monday. Quick bang on Saturday after the Ross County game. Hopefully it's no 0-0. Right. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
County line, I pledged upon. Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink water.